Sean is a religious life school universe practical knowledge. We've been issued since 1969 teaching our people that true history. Okay. Okay. So as you understand, that you've been following the past few weeks. Basically, we've been going through the scriptures, going back to combine Lashawan Qadash, the Hebrew language class, with Sabbath service. So today we're going to go over We're going to go over Genesis 6, 10 to Genesis 8 and 12. Now, be advised, we're going to go back. There's a few words that did not, a couple of words, rather, that you do need to know. But to begin, we're going to start off with the alphabet. Yes, so you have that. Okay. We'll do it this one. Salaam. Salaam. Okay. Salaam. You could let off Shahjab know already started. And when another thing knows I hate no answer, I like God. One reason I hate it, don't answer. Confusion at all. I just didn't walk down and let me make this a little better. Salakia. Yeah. Sa. I looked at all of the meanings of a lot of these in the second, so you want down. Okay, is there any questions on the board? Saki, what, no, son?
No, the other sound was coming up the story.
Okay, come on. All right, how about how was our Kata Yaka? Now, one thing that I found out, and it's funny, I'm getting back into my history. I'm getting back into my history. There's a word. Now, this word only comes up technically like once or twice, but it's words like this that really show we ruled Europe. I'm going to say this again. There's too many English words. Like this one. There's an English word that is rooted in Hebrew. We're going to get into that in a second. Okay.
They'll come out and we coming right back in. How did I get the sound? How's the sound?
Let's know if there's any distortion about the problem hearing us at all. Shucks. Stop coming distorted. Wow. Give us one in chat and tell us why. Dr. Shamar Swab, okay. Dr. Shamar Swab, okay. Dr. Shamar Ryan Swab. Alright, no sweat. I'm sorry, Grace. Okay. So we have it here. We got ba, da, ha, ba, za, ka, ta, ya. Ka, la, ma, sa, I, pa, ta, sa, kwa, ra, sha, and the fa. Okay? Now, as you know, if you've been in these classes for a while, each one of these letters corresponds. So, let me go. Okay, and each one of these letters corresponds to a certain symbol and or word. A is an ox, okay, which means strength or leadership or a leader or the first. Ba, ba is a house. A is alawa. Okay, alawa, just like Allah. Allah means ox, bull, cow, many. Ox, bull, cow, or 1,000. Slide. It can also represent 1 or 1,000, as we discovered last week. Okay, we went over this last week. So, interestingly enough, what's called ma'ah is technically translated as from 1,000. Ma'ah is 100. So just like ma'ashra is a 10, ma'ah is 100. Is 100. So 100. No, 1,000. So a fraction of 1,000 is 100. Right? Then we have ba. Now, the reason you need to know these, why it's important, it's not just cool little tidbits. It helps you to better understand the language and the spirit behind them, behind each word. Alaf is also used for I, to denote I am. So, la'ad, ada I don't know, I indicated. La'ad, ada I know is ada I no. Okay? I call. This can be a bit difficult, especially with other I words. I call, I eat, or I call, I eat. Ba is in. Ba is a house. Ba also represents in or on. I'll get mixed in with that, which is over. I'll get mixed in with it, but traditionally, this is what we teach. Ba is on. Okay? Then you have God. God is like camel, so not too sure to use it for that. God is commonly used for do. And we're going to cover do, interestingly enough, later today. Ha! As I've been covering recently, behold. Hana is to behold. That's what that means. That's what this is. Hana. Behold. Wa is a fish hook. Okay, it means and or to combine. Za is a type of weapon, possibly a scythe, an old school scythe. Like they do, similar to what they use traditionally for the quote unquote Grim Reaper, but more traditionally a scythe would have, there would be a point up here and you hold it at the back. Okay. And then,
Everybody just speak. Let's do a sound check.
testing. Most High in Christ. Let us know if you can hear us in the chat. Shemai Akkad. Shemai Tawab Akkad. Shemai Rai Shinya. You can hear us, one. You can hear us good, one. You can hear us bad, two. Okay, and as I was saying, we don't know what type of weapon Za is, but we know it's some type of weapon. This is what an ancient, or what a farmer's scythe would look like. Similar to the Grim Reapers, you just take away this last part. But we use these two on the side are the handles for the scythe. Basically, you hold it like this. To that effect. Kama is a verb, is a wall, Salakia. Kama is a verb, is a wall, Salakia. Obviously, as you understand, each symbol has meanings, right? Kama's meaning is a defense. Obviously, that's what a wall's for. What is the first? So now that we're starting to understand these, what is the first defense in life, sir? You know?
First defense in life.
The first defense in life. We covered Kama is a wall, right? And we covered means first. What is the first defense in life? According to the Hebrew language. Your first defense.
Your head. Oh.
Ain't that something?
Your brother.
Your brother. The first, your strength. Your leader. Defense. Your lead defense is your brother. Your first defense is your brother. According to the Hebrew language. Right? Kama. Ta. Ta comes from Tana'ah, which is the basket. This is the bottom of it. The X you see is the bottom of the basket from weaving it together. Yad. This is Yad. This is the hand. The Hebrew hand stops at the elbow. That becomes important in a second. Okay, because this is technically Yad, which translates to hand. The next word, interestingly enough, Kap. The indent or whatever is the indents in your hand. Kap is your palm. What we in English would refer to as your hand. Right? Your palm is kap. Right? This is also the Hebrew word for kap. Kap is kap. Once again, many English words come from Hebrew. They don't like to admit it, and it's what's called, but the Scottish English word lad is very much Hebrew. When you look up lada, it's hard to find lad, but when you look up girl, it'll tell you it's lada. Lada is the subservient version of lad, which would mean boy. Yalad, which comes from Yalad, which is technically translated he begets or he created. Okay? And the sense of sex. Ka, la, right? La is a shepherd's staff. Lamad means to learn. Right? That's where that comes from. Mayam, water. Mayam. La means two. Right? And a lot of these are prefixes that are used to, used in the beginning of words. So, ka is as, like or as. La is to. Ma is of or from. Okay, not pretty much. Yeah. I is I, ba is in. A lot of these also have certain functions, but not in that sense. Ma is water, ma young, right? That's where their symbol comes from. And notice a lot of these symbols are the birth of pretty much English letters as we know them. Like these symbols are everywhere throughout ancient times. You cannot escape them. These are the basis of languages created by our ancestor Adam. Na is a seed, Noan. The name of Joshua's father, Nun, in English, Noan. Noan is a seed or seedling, okay? More than likely, that's the shape in which you put the seed into the ground. Samak is a flag or to establish. I is the literal human eye. Pa is the mouth. Pa. Taza. Taza is a man laying on his side. Kwa is the sunrise. Ra is a head. Sha. Ra is Ra'ash, which is a head. Sha is shun, which is teeth. Ta is a mark. Okay, and these are the words. Okay. Now understand, Hebrew is pictographic, meaning taking these words, you can understand better what you're saying. You can use the pictures to understand the language. You have a good grasp on what each letter fully means. It says. So, let me see. So now we're going to get into it. Yes. All right. My bad. Okay. So we covered 4 to 6 last week, but I didn't cover one that I kind of do need to cover. I would rather cover. This is Genesis 6 and 9. If you can pull it, sir. Now, the reason I want to cover this is there's a lot of confusion about this verse. Okay, I just wanted to spell it personally. Because people do not understand when you do not speak the Hebrew. Actually, could you give me the Apocrypha verse, the 4 words of Ecclesiasticus? It's important that we always go over this episode. Ooh, that is such an integral verse.
Apocrypha, what you want from the Apocrypha?
The 4 words of Ecclesiasticus. It's technically the first verse. You got it? Oh, you want to read it louder? Come. You can pull it. Well, Salakia, let me know when you got it. Because it's in the middle. Yeah, the very beginning. Good. Okay, come. Okay, you can start now. I was going to use Bradbury. Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right, you got it? You got it? Okay, so now, basically while the brother gets that, we've got 2 words on the board. This is what I'm talking about. What we're about to cover in the next few seconds, generations. You'll find this, if y'all still at Genesis 6 and 9, you'll find this often in the Bible. Now, you see this word generations said twice. The problem is, there's a big difference between the two uses of these words. They do not mean the same thing at all. Okay? We're going to get that. But first, we're going to explain why it's important to learn the Hebrew language. You got it, sir? Come.
In the book of Ecclesiasticus, in the prologue, it says, for the same things uttered in
If you
Hebrew,
go like 2 sentences up.
Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention. Speaking about the book.
Meaning what? You should read the scriptures with favor and attention. You should always be looking and saying what words were properly used. Like, for instance, the other week when we were covering Genesis, the 3rd chapter, we went and saw the word used for Satan is kayath, meaning he's the most subtle of everything living. There is nothing living on this earth more subtle than our oppressor. Right? There is nothing alive that is more subtle than our oppressor. Right? Knowing these simple words, it didn't call him say he's the most subtle of every beast. It didn't even say he's the most subtle of every human. It said he's the most subtle of everything living. There is not a snake. There is not a bear. There is not a lion. Understand, there is not a predator on the earth that is worse than our oppressor. There is nothing breathing that is worse than our oppressor. Read that again, sir.
Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention.
Read it with favor and attention. In 1969 and prior, brothers in this school read the scriptures with favor and attention and said, the white man is the devil. There is nothing on this earth breathing that is more subtle and crafty than him. He will put a Jake up on a pedestal, a black man up on a pedestal, and talk about a dream that's secretly about him wanting to sleep with white women. There is nothing more subtle than that. You should read this with favor and with what's called, read that again,
attention.
And attention. You should be attentive of what is happening. You should have attention to everything that's going on. Why is that attention necessary? If you got to handle it. Oh. Okay, Kai, keep reading, sir. Okay. All right, throughout. I got it. Let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. Okay, why? Because it is very imperative that I give you the exact definition and translation, so you have the exact understanding of what I'm trying to convey. Hebrew is a very funny language. Half of it is slang, literally. Literally, when you look up most Hebrew words, it'll tell you, it actually means this, but they just use it for this. Salaki, sir, am I lying? Like, what's going, literally, if you look up a Strong's, this is the root word. This is what it actually means. But they just say speak. This means speak. Okay, you'll find that, we'll get into that later. Okay? For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Okay, meaning what? I'm going to use a random verse. Gather together. There's one of my favorites to use. Gather together, O nation not desire. Cool, simple verse. We all got to come together. That gather is not literal. Everybody come together. Let's all hold hands. That's talking about raking your field. That's talking about what you tell your son to do to the backyard and the front lawn. Gather the leaves, gather the twigs, gather up firewood. That's what that's talking about. The firewood, the leaves, all of that, that's scattered in an area, right? You want it back or you want him to read it? Sorry. God. That's scattered in the area, right? That's how we are as a people. If you don't understand, you have to understand it. Why? Because that's the spirit. You need to, I'm trying, Hebrew is made so I can convey that spirit. Right? We don't just say gather. We have a specific word for gathering like twig, like leaves in the fall. So that when the Most High tells you, gather together, I expect to see the ex-Buddhists inside my temple. I expect to see the ex-Christians inside my temple. I expect to see the ex-atheists inside my temple. Gather together, O nation not desired. Because while you're in Buddhism, Islam, what's called? Y'all, they let one Jake into a mosque. I have yet to see the mosque of the Hamite Muslim community come into the Judite community and say, all the Muslims, we want to invite y'all to our synagogue and really bring about peace and unity between the African diaspora. How many times have y'all seen the Africans come out and say, let's all come together? They don't do that though. For all that, okay, don't let Tina Turner confuse you. Tina Turner got money. Tina Turner got money. That's why she's good at Buddhism. I don't know any black person I met one black Buddhist in my whole life. That cat was, what's it called? Other than the cats who be on 14th Street. But we got to get all of them. And that's what that scripture conveys. Salaki, you can keep reading, sir? The scripture is explaining to you that when I read that scripture, when I read Zephaniah and go back into the Hebrew and learn it, that puts on a spirit. Even if I wanted to say, it's just one or two Buddhists, no, the scripture says, gather them together like leaves in a field. So that means I have to go into that Buddhist temple and say Buddhism is a lie. Any black people that are in this lie, we have the truth for you. Keep going, sir.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them.
Right? Keep going.
And not only these things, but the law itself.
But the what?
The law itself.
The what?
The law.
Keep
itself.
going. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. If you do not understand the Hebrew language, you will be lost. You'll think God created everything. Right? You'll think the Most High created everything. That's how lost you'll be. Right? Keep going, sir.
And the prophets.
And the what?
And the prophets.
So that's Joshua. That's Samuel. That's what's called the Judges. That's Jeremiah. Everything. You will not understand the Bible if you do not understand or study Hebrew. And that is not a cut to anybody who is on that journey to learn it. Something that Commander General General Muhammad said years ago. You don't think Arya owned the Tanakh? Like, I do work behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you, he owned it. Arya owned the Tanakh. I'm going to tell you that right now. Arya owned the Tanakh. I can tell you that. I can tell you that with my own 2 eyes. Arya owned the Tanakh. But for a very long time, whether father like yeah or Yaquab, yeah. But that's its own thing. Long story short, we've done this research. We had men who read that and said, we need to study this Hebrew. Your fake Israelite group teaches, we'll wait for Yahushua to do that. You'll never understand the Bible. You'll never understand Yahushua unless you go and do this work yourself. Right? So that's not a slight to anybody who doesn't necessarily know or isn't on a certain level, because we did that work for you. Just come in here, we'll tell you everything you need to know. We know that the word is Elohim in Genesis, the 1st chapter, and that it's not Yahweh, the Most High's name. We know what that actually means. Come in class and we'll teach you. But to us brothers who understand what that says, that means we have to stay in here and keep learning our language. We have to stay in here and study it as much as we can to understand exactly what's being said. Because you got idiots that want to do things like, oh, the scripture says that if we keep a woman in war, take a woman in war, we can take her as our own. That's literally a word only ever used for Israelites. When you look at that word in the Hebrew, it only ever comes up for Israelite wars, civil wars. Meaning it's not talking about heathens. Keep going, sir. I think it's about to end.
And the rest of the books.
And the what?
And the rest of the books have no small difference.
Stop.
When they are spoken in their own language. For in the 8th and 13th year coming into Egypt, when Urgas was king, and continuing there some time, I find a book of no small learning. Therefore, I thought it most necessary for me to bestow some diligence and travail to interpret it.
Okay, now, so that's the end of that. So basically, that last part is important, though. Basically, that last part explains the New Testament is no different. John 1:1 is understood perfectly when you put it back to the Hebrew. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. When you understand the Word is the power, and the Word was God. That's what trips up Christians. God just means power. God just means authority. The Word was with God. He was with the power. He was with the authority. That's the Most High. That's Yahweh. Then He was with, and the Word was power. He is authority. He is God. That doesn't mean He's the Most High. That just means He is now in authority. He is now in power. Right? It makes sense when you bring it back to its original language. And that what understand that small minute to us that seems like okay, copy. Where God is power, which fixes that whole kerfluffle, right? Here's the thing though. Outside of this goddamn room, that's a whole religion. That one scripture's misinterpretation created a whole religion. Where people think that these two entities are one. Y'all realize that, right? Now, why do we have this on the board? Brother, if you could pull Genesis 6 and 9. Okay. Genesis 6 and 9, right, has these two words come up twice. Now, when you understand this, okay, when you understand this, these make no small difference. Right? You got it? Genesis 6 and 9. Okay? These two words have no small difference. They mean two totally different things. Okay? Keep going. Let me know when you got it. Let me put it in the Torah, rather. You got it? John, you read it?
Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. They are the generations of Noah.
No, read that again.
These are the generations of Noah.
These are the generations of Noah, right? Keep going.
Noah was a just man,
right?
And perfect in his generations.
Perfect in his generation, right? Now, I wrote this out of order, but this is first. This is second. This is time. Right? This is bloodline. This is why it's important to know these words. This is Yalad, the Hebrew word Yalad. Right? Perfect in his bloodline. Why is it important to know this? Why is it important to know this? Okay? Why? Anybody? Talada, Salakia. It comes from Yalad, which means to beget, right? Yeah, I should have just kept it. Beget. And then you get Salada. Salada, which means generation, Khan, or bloodline. Khan, what you gonna say, Mufasa?
Like, yeah, like you're saying that it's important to know it during the time it was all like one people, and then there was a separation.
No, we weren't all one people during the time of Noah.
So like before the flood.
Right, before the flood, we weren't all the same people. That's the reason for the flood. Salaki, if you could pull Tobit 4 and 12.
What was the point of the flood?
The point of the flood was what?
No, it was to separate.
It was because the separation of what? The sons of God from the daughters of men.
Right.
The sons of God were Adam's kids.
Right.
The daughters of men were the heathens of those times.
Right, that's my understanding of it.
Right. So they weren't all one people. There were Adam's children and then everybody else. Those are two groups. You understand?
Right, but I'm saying they were mixing in.
Okay, they were mixing in, becoming one people. Yes.
Right.
Okay. In that understanding, yes. So now, why is it important to understand that when it says Noah's perfect in his generations, it's talking about Talada, meaning, I should have put it, okay, bloodline, or let me put this in capitals, as I put it here, genes. Okay, Talada is your generation, your bloodline, your genes. It can also be used as birth, like one time, but most often it's used for generation, which is just another way to say genes. What is the first? Okay, the first book of the scriptures is basically, it ends with how the 12 tribes, it starts with the creation of our nation through Adam, and ends with how the 12 tribes got into Egypt. That is our genesis, the beginning of our genes, the beginning of this family, right? Talada, generation, bloodline, genes. He was perfect in his talada. He was perfect in his generation. He was perfect in his bloodline. He was perfect in his genes. Why is this important? When I go onto the street and I say, God, caused the flood because of interracial marriage. What? You've got proof that. No sweat. Perfect in his generation. That word generation, you don't have to really even go to Hebrew. When you look up the word generation in English, it'll tell you, yeah, it can't mean genes. Your bloodline. Right? Yeah, that's how you beat that. That's how you beat someone with that breakdown. That proves that breakdown. Okay? The second one is Dar. He was perfect in his time. Okay? One of them is generation or bloodline. The other is time. Okay? So what this probably would say is, these are the bloodlines of Noah, which was a just and perfect and perfect in his times. And Noah walked with power, walked with the power. Meaning what? He's, okay, of his bloodline, he's the best one in that time period. He's the only one who stood with the Most High, and his descendants, his ancestors, are the only ones who kept a pure and perfect bloodline. Okay, that's what that said. Now, we're going to get into it. This is the beginning of 6 and 10. This is what we're going to go over tomorrow. Da is a time period. Falada is a generation or bloodline. This is used to help you with the flood breakdown. Jeez. Now, next we're going to go over the verses for tomorrow. First, knock. Because you're going to see it over and over again. Knock. You can rest in this sense. Okay, knock. Knock, right, to rest or rest. Now, here's the thing. I was having a conversation with General Cabal. Our oppressor does not know what he's doing. He'll tell you this comes from the walk. The thing about it is, with most Hebrew words, especially when the definition is given, what our oppressor says doesn't matter. Go with the definition. Meaning, how do I say it? Okay, I'll use this one as an example. When you look this up, they say it's Nawak, which means rest of comfort. But the verse itself, his father says Nakam. Like he's our comfort. Nakam or Nahum or Nakamya or Nehemiah. Nakam means to comfort. He is as our comfort. So basically Nakamwa. So for short, somehow his name became Nah. Our oppressor says, no, why? Did you not just hear his daddy named him Nakam? He called him Nakam, and now his name's Nak? Our oppressor doesn't know. Go with what is said. How do I say it? Have said this. Your daddy pictured him. His daddy said, you come from what's called, you are our comfort. We call you Nak. Your name comes from the cup. Sometimes, like I said, listen to us, don't listen to the oppressor. We've done the research, we know these names. We've done all this research. Okay, next is his son, Yapai. Let me just make sure I got it. No. Expand. His name technically comes from opening. It can also mean like empty-headed too. Well, not this name. This means literally to expand from opening. Right? He opens. Or, yeah. Okay. You won't see their names too often, but just so you have them and know them. Your path. Expand. Okay. That's the order. Okay. Another one you should know, Salaki. Well, I'll get that at the end since I already started. So he started with Jennifer. Oh, damn. I went first. Reverse order. Oh, well. Your path is expand. We'll do next. Come. Hot. Why he named it that, I don't know. Your path. Okay. Come. Very simple. Come, yeah, is Hamite. Kamwath is a Hamite, or African woman. Come is hot. And finally, Sham. Name, title, renown. For now, I'm going to leave this as the verb, because a lot of instances I see Kwarasham wa or Kwarasham ha, which is call his or her name. So I can't say it is like in English the verb to name, because I can't on the top of my head see it. So for the moment, I'm only teaching this is the noun, name. Like the title is a title, like is a noun or a noun. Okay? Name, title, renown. To give a child that name, come.
Isn't that what the oppressor said, like when they will say Hashem?
The name?
The name.
Right, because well, they're still using it as a noun. Right. Because I'm saying, like, is it the verb, like, oh, and they named him. You understand what I mean? I don't know if we use it as a verb, because every instance I usually say, see, it's called his name. You know, you have you ever what's it called? I have to go back and check, but what's it called? I don't want to say what's it called. So Sham is basically just a noun. I don't want to say it's the noun and the verb. Like Malak is king and to rule. I don't want to say it's both. So Sham is name, title, renown. Sham. Sham. Name, title, renown. Red. So Sham. And that's his sons. Another word you're going to see a lot as you get into the scriptures. Banya. Another word you're going to see, well, not as often, but so you can start to understand what you're seeing and understand differentiations. These are the same word, but very different. Do you know the difference, either of you, or anybody online? Anybody know the difference between these two? They both children. John.
Plural?
Say what?
What's plural?
No, children are both plural.
Let's see, Banya.
Banya and Banya. But they're both children. They're both plural.
One is referring to children of someone specific.
Okay.
One is more general.
Right. That's exactly it. One is what you'll see usually in Hebrew. It'll have a dash right here, and then somebody's name. Banya Yasharala, children of Israel. right? But also in certain instances, like here, like in certain instances, you'll see the banya, you'll see like what's called, you might see it by itself, but usually in those instances, or it can be sons. So I totally forgot about that. Sons. Banya, right, is sons of. Always, 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 right? Children, sons, general. Okay? The reason I bring this up is the entirety of the Torah is going to be, The entirety of the Torah is just going to be Vanya Yasharal. Vanya Yasharal. Salami. Banyam, Banyam. Now, we're going to get into a lot of these good words. Lapia. So up here we have Nak, which means rest. Yapak, which means to expand. Kam, which is hot. Sham, which is name, title, or a noun. Banya and Banyam. Khan.
So like, what's an example when you see Banya, then you don't see Banyan? They both.
Okay. Banyam is her children in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. A specific person is never named. It's not children of Eve or children of Adam. It's just Banyam Ha. Your children, there will be outward enmity between your seed and her children, or something along that fact. I looked it up. That was one of the first times I saw this. Banyam is used in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Banya is used specifically if a specific person is being mentioned. Right? Banya. Now, is there anyone else? Okay. Let me just make sure I got these. Oh, okay. Slide, give me 1 sec. Anybody, any questions on Ron?
Someone said the words are hard to see.
The words are, we're proud of the red.
You can check if you use another marker. I mean,
Yeah, time. All right. All right. Now, as I said, okay, now we have verse 7 and 7. In this verse, a specific man is not mentioned by name, but you have Ban Yawa. What would Ban Yawa translate to? Salaki, I'm gonna erase this. Let me know if there's any Ban Yawa. What would now I'm gonna give y'all a second. What would Ban Yawa translate to? Ban Yawa.
Now, should
Two like that. Okay, that's fine. What would this translate to? And another word we don't get is Slovakia. It's hot, Black. You celebrating Christmas time?
What's the
That's the way. Okay, understand. Sorry, let me fix this. This word is written like this here. I have to personally do more research to see if this is a rule and not just something that may be an old way of doing things. I was just talking to Officer Hazard, and from his research, there is an evolution. It's a very apparent. Sorry, let me write these much better. It's very apparent that Salaki, if y'all can see that color better, let me know. It's very apparent that there's a growth in Hebrew between Moses and David. Right? But I was asking him, can you say the same between Adam and Moses? Yes. There are certain words in Genesis, I have to go back and take a good look at it myself, that only come up in Genesis, the first chapter. Meaning these are very old words that probably after, yeah, actually that is true. A few of those words do not only come up, like firmament and such, only come up after Genesis. Right? It's like we found better words to describe these things and better ways to convey them than what Adam did. Adam only lived a certain amount of time. Had to convert. He only had Eve to talk to until he had kids. Long story short, that's a joke. Take me seriously. Banyua, right? And now we have Shah. I'm putting it as it is written. Okay, now that is not traditionally how we teach it, but that's what the Torah has. And we take special attention to what the Hebrew teaches, what the Hebrew writes. Ban Yehuah, although it is no man specifically given, is his sons / children. And now this is technically life. You're going to see it as Ashahuah. Ashahuah is his life, right? Right? Asha, right? And his wife. Ooh. Now, getting into a few of these other words. One other word I need is Nash. Okay, in this instance now, this is the pluralization of any like ofs. So now, what you're gonna see, I'm gonna write it as you see it there. Nash, yeah, because what you have there, that's a connector. This is wives of. What you have is Nashia Bandua, wives of his sons. Right? So that's Nash. Yeah. Nausea. Okay, and you're gonna see all three of these a few pretty often tomorrow. Nausea, banyo. Now, the two main words you're gonna see tomorrow. Well, three or four. First is, let's get this out the way. Tha, ba. So let me take a wild guess what the ba is. We've been talking about Noah all day. So we can take a wild guess what the ba is. I'll tell you this much: if you get it wrong the first time, you'll know the second time. And I mean that literally, please. Ba, ba. I gotta do that. I am bothered putting those in Assyrian, but I can't even have spit up. Let me just. Sorry, Bunny was a little small, but I don't really want space like that. Time. All right, and the ba in the Assyrian is gonna look like this. Now you'll usually see it with a ha. I just didn't put it, but I'll write it in a second. What do you think the ba is? John.
Blood.
No, but you'll get it right next time. What do you think it is? If it's not flood. What's the other most common word that definitely comes up in that story?
The ark.
Ark. To be clear, this is not the covenant. The covenant is a different word, Aran. I'll put it here just so we know. This is box. Sorry, let me just write that. Box. Right? This word is also used for Moses. Like the ark that Moses was put in, the ark of bulrushes, it's just a box. Ark in itself is just an encasing. But I'm not going to say too much, but by the way, this is the only two uses of this word. This word is something to do with necessarily boat travel, more than likely. It's the only two uses. Both uses are a boat, basically. Right? This is not the Ark of the Covenant. This is the Ark. All right? Ark of the Covenant would be Aran. Ark. Now, even interestingly enough, when you look up this word, it'll tell you it's for gathering and jumbling together, putting things together. Right? All right. You won't see this tomorrow, but I'm just showing it to you so you're not confused in the future thinking you use the same word. It's not. Okay? Aran. ark, like the covenant. Now, ma, ba, wa. Apologize. What is ma, ba, wa? Think about it. I asked you for a reason.
It's something water.
Think about it. So marble wall. Yes, you're right. It has to do with water. Marble wall. I said you'll get it right the next time.
It's a season.
Rain.
No. We're gonna get that in a second. No. Marble wall. C is yam. Right? Marble wall. Ma, ba, wall. Marble wall. You said it earlier. Say what?
Flood.
Yes. Marble wall is flood. Okay? Marble wall. Now, as we broke down earlier, these words, letters help you to better figure out what a word means. Yabal. Yabal is the root word of this. Right? Yabal, and I'm going to do a quick lesson so y'all can see this. Flow is the verb. Salakia. To flow. To flow, right? Now, when you understand Hebrew, you understand that this is the basic verb in and of itself to a point. So what you have here is flow, right? Mabal. Right? But you notice you have this in here. What is this? Is this basically conjugates the verb and makes it an ing. Right? So bawal, right, by itself, this is flowing. Flowing, right? Right, or continuous flow, right? Flowing in the present. Mabal, the ma makes it pertain to, from flowing. So you have a word that comes from flowing. What comes from flowing? A flood. Mabal, flood. Okay, to flow. Ibadri Yasharala at Gmail. Please don't provide me with mad stuff. Marble wall. Okay. Now, was there anything else? Ah, yes. And this is a good one to go over because what is it? This teaches you about pronunciation. Pronunciation is important in the language. How to pronounce certain things correctly. I do not I do not get upset about it or get big, but if your name is okay, a ha has a ha in it, your name can be drastically changed without it. When people say your name wrong. Yah is the Most High shortened name for namings. It was just to say like this. I don't get big on it, but technically if you say Ibadja instead of Ibadiyah, You are saying my servant instead of servant of God. This is what's called. We're going to get another instance of this, and this is very, very important when saying the language. Now, context means everything, so to a point it don't matter. But, however, if you want to be good, you want to be precise, and you want to know how to speak this language precisely, these are the small things. I'm saying this to say the Hebrew word, this is what is this word, Papa? Well, let me write it a little bit. What is this? You know what that first word is?
I kind of don't remember. I think mother was this.
Say what?
Kind of don't remember.
What did you say after that?
I don't know. I think of mother when I'm mom. I don't know.
Okay, Amma. What makes you think it's a mother?
I don't know. That's how we say it in Spanish.
Huh?
That's how we say it in Spanish.
Huh?
That's how we say it in Spanish.
Huh?
Spanish.
Yeah. For whatever strange reason, people on this side of the world, since pre-Columbus, have been saying their mothers, referring to their mothers the same way the Jewish Hebrews did. Amma. Like they never changed. It's not madre in. I know Mexicans definitely. It's not madre for them. They still say ama and apa. Ama and apa is still the Mexican words for parents. To this day. Now, this is why it's important to understand pronunciation. Mother, cubic. $20 cubits, Asheriyam, Ama. Right? Ama is cubit. You talking about mom or feet? You talking about mom or inches? You talking about mom or yards? Right? This is why it's somewhat important. It's a little weird using that one because context, but these things do exist. And these, what's called, like for instance, me and also I've had a whole thing about this. I think I brought this up already. You'll find aha in Leviticus 23 for Ina. That doesn't add up unless you connect it and turn it would translate to societies, because otherwise it'd be her people when everybody translates it as his people, which would be a more accurate translation, even though society actually does fit better, cut off from society. Right? So understanding these things helps you to better understand the language. Ama, because you will see this often, is because now, why is this important and why is it in the Hebrew? Now, yeah, why is it important to know Salakia? Let me write this a little better. Why is this important to know? Because okay, when you do those maths and you understand ship writing, like the art of building ships, why the hell is this mathematically accurate? Understand, you can't just put wood and nails together and put something in the ocean. You will drown. There is mathematics behind building a ship. I believe, I forgot exactly because I remember Captain Tower Royal, we got to do his name before we finish. If I'm not mistaken, there's a certain mathematical formula that you have to follow in the length and creation of a ship, or else your vessel will drown. Right? Why the hell did Noah have that math? And why is that math well recorded for someone who lived in Egypt? Understand, they didn't have shipwriting in Egypt. History records this. Even if you want to believe Moses made it up, how do you know that? Because we passed down the formula for shipbuilding since Noah all the way to Moses. Speaking of that mighty man, Salaki, I put the connector. Salaki, I was not supposed to put the connector. Those are loose. Ama. Right? That needs the connector. Now, I believe also, is a word as well. Is also a word. I forgot exactly what is, but is a word. Gam is also, I know that much. Before I forget, Matar. Matar is rain. Interestingly enough, it has a ma in it. Matar is rain. Oh, shit. Rocky, y'all. Matar is rain. That looks like a dog. Matar is rain. We're gonna get these last two. Okay. Tahawar is clean. Clean in the sense of what you're gonna find is Bahama Tahawar. I'll write it at the bottom in a second. Tahawar. Tower, Bama, Beast. Okay. Bahama, Beast. So what you'll find is Tahawar, Bahama. Clean beast. Wait, Bahama, Salaki. I messed that up. You gotta get out your English mind for a second. Boom. You got 7 minutes? Don't worry. You don't want too much out. Really not cool. Okay, hold on 1 second. Salami, let me go to verse 2, just so I make sure I get this right. Salami. Yeah, Ha Bahama, Ha Tahawara. Ha Bahama, Ha Tahawara. Alright? Cleanse. Cleansing. The unclean, the beast, the clean. Okay, Khan.
Like, it's very ironic that matar, rain, matar means to kill in Spanish.
Matar, Khan. Okay, most high correct. Ha Bahama, Ha Tahawar, or Wara is what you'll find for the clean beast. Okay. I just put that there so you can see it. That's how you properly say it. Is there anything else? Okay, so Tama'a. You got it. Tama'a. Tama'a. Just so you have it. You won't see it. They use anan. They use ayanan, but ayanana for not clean instead of unclean. This could be, as I said, evolution in the language, meaning that word unclean itself didn't exist. Right? Tama'a, let me see, is there anything else? Yawana. Only reason I'm putting this word, you'll only really see it once, but it's the Most High's favorite bird, so we will get it. With that, you should already know what it is. Well, I won't give you it, but if you want a little homework for yourself, Tama'a is unclean. Hatama'ala. Right, from the prayers. Tama'a. Tama'a is unclean. Okay. Alright, I'll just go from up here. Got it? Yawana. Yawana. Now, there's a reason we have that whole term servient and subservient, instead of using what most heathens use, which is the term feminine. Yawana translates to dove. However, in our language, that can be both a sister's name, like we have a sister in the school with that name now, or it can be a brother's name. Most names aren't necessarily unisexual. So the way you use a name can have different meanings, and the way they're used can be different. I believe the name Parak. Parak can mean to blossom or to sprout. There's a brother and a sister with that name. Different spirits. Right? She's like a blossom. He's a brother who sprouts up, what's called into his youth. Basically, it also means youth. It's a brother in his youth. But for a sister, it means blossom, the spirit behind it. A dove is a pretty name for a sister. It's also the Most High's favorite bird. That makes it a great name for a brother as well. Dove also means pigeon. So we're clear, a dove is a pigeon. Jonah. Y'all, nah. Right, and you'll see it, y'all. Well, nah. Yahweh, right, is a dove. Okay, so you basically have pretty much these are the words you're going to need tomorrow. Okay, as you go on, you're going to start to see some of these repeat. Some of these repeat in certain ways. Okay, Rach, once you get to Exodus, it's just nothing but why you're at the bar. I am so serious. Why you're at the bar, that is how I know how to say that well. And with that, I pass the class over to priest and us, Yatazar.
Son of Christ, I'm here for class. Let me check the date for the next one convocation for that. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York.
Second.
What is it?
October 2nd.
October
Yes, sir.
7th?
Second.
October 2nd.
Yes.
Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3 verses 8 through 10 means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher, priest fund, through an offering from priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like of holy convocation, which is memorial of the blowing of trumpets, and then after that will be the Hanukkah, right? In December.
No, that's beyond second round. After the blowing of trumpets is Day of Atonement.
Day of Atonement, God.
And that's
I tend to forget the Day of Atonement.
No.
The memorial of the blowing of the trumpet, which is going to be on October 2nd. All right, so mark your calendar. October 2nd is going to be our next holy convocation. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, a scarf. Sisters, contact the camp leader in the school near your location. Go to isupk.com. With that, men of Israel, we're going to give one courteous salute. Men of Israel, Imajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam. The sisters, Yahweh Shema Alatam Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Yajamata, dismiss.